Cassian is brought to a prison surrounded by water on Narkina 5, where he spends every day working in monotonous, heavy industry with hundreds of other prisoners. Vel and Cinta travel to Ferrix to search for him. When Marva falls ill, Bix attempts to contact Luthen about Cassian's whereabouts. But Luthen, worried about being exposed to anyone monitoring communications, does not answer. He then leaves Coruscant to meet with Saw Gerrera. Raul attempts to hire Guerrera's rebel cell to act as air support for a raid on Imperial Power Station at Spellhouse organized by Anto Krieger, but is turned away. Deidre Miro questions Cyril Karn about his experiences on Ferrix, but declines his offer to help with her investigation. She leads a unit to Ferrix herself, where she apprehends Bix. Thanks for stopping by the Surge T channel. I am Surge T. And that was the synopsis of Episode 8 of Star Wars Andor. And this one's titled Narkina 5. And that is the planet where Cassian is sent with a few others to serve out his time, to serve out hard time. Pretty monotonous work. He's there, they're putting together, I don't know what it looks like, what it is, but he's in the heavy industry, it's monotonous work, and he's working with other prisoners, and they have to do a kind of like a time trial, it's almost like, where they have to be done first before the others. The last one that gets their stuff finished, that's fried, or they're like in their prison cells, and then it's white means that it's cold, the floor is thing, but then if it's red, you got 7 seconds to get in your cell or else you're fried. There's one guy that apparently he looked like the toughest guy, man. He had a tattoo, he had a scar and everything. I'm thinking this guy is roughing it out, and this guy looks like somebody who doesn't let anything bother him. And then this guy, what did he do? He just jumped onto the red when it was the floor was red, and he got zapped and he got fried and he got killed. Even one of the guys was saying, man, we're gonna have to smell this guy the whole night, you know. And pretty rough. It's like, you know, like I said, poor Andor. Like, we know he's not innocent, but at the same time, is he there because of something that he did or something that they assumed that he did? Did he get arrested for that thing that he did, that he pulled off with Vel and the others? Mistaken identity, right? He's walking on the beach and they pull him over. That one robot. He may have mistaken saying hang on to him or something, and then he, like Andor is saying, hey, he didn't say hang me. Listen to him, you know. But a lot to take in on this episode. A lot of it, of course, took place on Narkina 5. When I saw the title, I wondered what that is, but it's just basically a prison that's surrounded by water. Well, it's there in Narkina 5. And yeah, this we see, you know, we see his story. We see his mother, Marva, who looks like she's way out there. Like she had a scar or something bruised on her head. Beck said that she fell, and did she fall and hit her head? And looks like she's about to clock out, if you know what I mean. And they're trying to get a hold of him, and Bix is trying, and you know, Luthen can't answer her because the communications might be tapped. You know, the Empire might be listening in. Yeah, remember, man, the Empire is surrounding them now, on that planet there where they're at. You know, they're walking around, stormtroopers, Imperial guards, all those guys, they're all around. And they gotta, like, you know, tread lightly, if you will, as if they're walking on thin ice. And if they make one false move, it's gonna crack and it's gonna come out, and it's going to, you know, come out from under them, and they're gonna end up in deep water, drowning. So there's that. You see Mon Mothma continuing the politic, She meets with her friend and talking about the money situation and how much money she needs with the help and all that stuff. And she's always asking about the guy, her friend. And then her husband is like looking at her like, oh, okay, the daughter's there, and she meets her friend again, and it's like I don't know what's going on with that. She seems kind of at it at it. She kind of like seems that she's not okay with it. She feels it's almost like she's very uneasy about him. Very uneasy about. I'm trying to remember his name. Yeah, Take Homa. And of course, Keith Gergo. That's the name of his. That's his alias. That's Cassian's alias. It reminds me almost of Grief Karga. Carl Weathers' character in The Mandalorian. It's almost like they got that name and they just flipped letters around so that they could come up with another name. Pretty close. Pretty close when you look at it and kind of say it a bunch of times. It's almost like it's the same. But I read a little bit of the next episode, and I mean I happened to because and apparently he's gonna try to well, not the episode, but it was like the synopsis. So that doesn't really the synopsis. The little one line or explanation of the next episode really never gives it away. But it does say that he is going to enlist the help of the other prisoners to try to make a daring escape. I'm thinking like it's gonna be hard to how do you escape from there? Is it gonna be as perilous as it was when they had all those all that the payroll that they swiped, all those tokens or coins or those things that they stole? Is it going to be as intricate as that, or are they going to be able to manipulate the situation? Maybe we're going to find a prison guard there that can be easily I don't know what they could pay him off with. Maybe a sympathetic one that'll let them escape. I gotta wait and see. But unfortunately, in the end, there they, Deidre Miro, she first, she questions Cyril Karn about his spirit. She's like, she's really not interested in what he can provide for them in the sense of his help. They just want to know, what did you get? What did you report? The fact that he's constantly filing false reports with them, and they're getting tired of it, especially Miro. And she's saying that if you do this again, you're going to not answer to me, you'll answer to someone else. I'm thinking, is that the Emperor? Are you talking about Palpatine? Because I wouldn't want to deal with him. Who does, right? And then of course his friend, her friend, the one that she, the one guy who she pretty much asked for her to look at something. He ends up getting brought in by them, and then he's being tortured and being, I guess, interrogated. And then that's where we see her. We see the chair, and they put her there, and they're gonna put her through the same thing. Possibly it's because they know that she has an affiliation with Andor, Cassian, or maybe it's just because of other things. Because these guys aren't exactly dealing in stuff that's not seen as illegal or something like that. They're probably just like Cassian, where they're on the radar. Somebody's some agency, some imperial thing, warrant, or what you want to call it, right? Wanted posters, on them. But yeah, I did like this episode. We're seeing Cassian in prison, and the hard things that he's going through. It kind of just passed forward through 30 different days, or 30 different rounds of doing what they're doing. What he's doing every day, day in and day out in prison. And you see he's kind of got used to it. The first time when he got there, and then he had to watch. He was watching those guys how they put the thing whatever you call those things together, and the teamwork and what they have to do, and the time limit they have, and everything like that. And you can see his mind's working, and then he finally gets it. Boom. Now, if I could remember, I'm just paraphrasing, but they said about food because they showed their little prison cell, their little cells and what they look like, and you got your plate there in the wall, you got the water, and then the food. That definitely, from what he said, his the guy that was showing him the ropes pretty much said that it's just basically you'll get used to it. I believe they said something like the winners get to taste their food. The ones who have the best, they come in first. Their table comes in first. They get to have flavor on their food. But then if you come in last, you're fried. I believe it's when they get fried, they end up out for a bit. They come back, or I'm trying because I know they always say that they're saying that Andor, the people that come in are replacing the people who died. So is that what that means? Fried? Because we saw the guy happen with that guy when the floor was red, and apparently he got fried. He ain't coming back no more. But that's a very, very, I guess, something that you can work towards. Gives you a little bit of incentive, a little bit of motivation. Who doesn't want to have flavor on their food and want to be able to taste their food? I mean, they get the as much as they want. They just take the hose off of the wall and suck on it and take it in, and that's probably the reason why. It's because it's just some slop that they put together, and they could pretty much just produce it over and over again. I wonder what it is. Is it something they get from the Sarlacc pit? Is it something they get from I don't know. It could easily be Wookiee poop, or like, what is it? What is the stuff that they eat? I don't want to know. It has no flavor. What's the flavor that they put on it? Like, I don't know. But like I said, it's very interesting, the episode. It's funny because when we know what happens with Andor, we know how it happens to Cassian. He ends up there in Rogue One. So he's not like he's gonna be in prison. He's gonna get out of there. He's gonna be able to move on to the what's happening with later on down the road with Rogue One. But I like storytelling like this, and I like how they can make you still think, oh, is he gonna be stuck for 6 years? He's never gonna get out until then. What's gonna happen? Is he gonna get out? Of course he is. But I like storytelling like that, where they make you still think, oh, this character is gonna die, or this character is going to not make it, or and then we know that the character moves on. And sometimes people don't want to watch these type of shows because they go, man, I know we know what happens to Cassian Andor. He ends up dying in Rogue One, right? But me, it's like, wait, if you could tell a good story, if you could talk about their stories and not mess it up, like in a lot of these films where they go back and try to present a younger version of a character that we know and love in the movies that we've watched, and then they go back 30 years to follow a character when he was young and stuff, and then that we know what's going to happen later on. Look what they did with Han Solo, one of the most biggest heroes when it comes to the Star Wars original Star Wars trilogy and all that stuff. And we know what happens to him later on. He gets betrayed by his own son and he gets killed. So when you watch him in those movies, you're like, oh no, I already know what happens to him. He ended up with a shitty death, but apparently Harrison Ford didn't want to move on with the character, and he wanted to kill it off like he's doing with. That's what the people are saying, that the Indiana Jones film, the number 5, is his last one, and they think they're going to kill him off, and he doesn't want to play the role anymore. And who's going to play him, right, in the movie? Is it going to be Chris Pratt? Is it going to be someone else? I think they were big on Shia LaBeouf. as his son to play, but now I think they're going to be casting someone else as his son. It's like, you talk about somebody who messed up his career. That's Shia LaBeouf, man. I don't know what happened to him, man, because he was on the rise, right? The Transformer movies, you know, the Indiana Jones movie, and all that stuff. But sometimes people can't keep it together, like Ezra Miller, same thing. It's like I don't understand how these people are. They're blessed with the opportunity to be in a big time movie, a role, have momentum on their side, and then get they forget where they're at. They kind of forget that they're human. They're only human. They're not invincible. That they can get away with whatever. It catches up to them, bites them in the ass, like Kevin Spacey too, and all these people who just mess up their careers because of an ill thought out thing that they wanted to do and thought they can get away with it, and their behavior catches up to them. But anyway, that's that. I'm talking about episode 8 of Andor. This episode, of course, again, Narkina 5. And we saw what Andor is going through. And Cassian, not only is he there in prison, but then you have Deidre Miro and everybody, looking for him. And although they have his image and everything like that, they still don't know who he is. They still don't know anything really about him. But they know that there's something there. Is he connected to the heist that happened? We do, we know, but they don't, as of yet. But they're gathering info, and Deidre Miro is really going out there to prove to her superiors that, especially the main guy who put her in place, that she's going to come through for them and make sure that she's going to be like a rabid dog, a pit bull, and she's going to not stop until she can apprehend those responsible, starting with Cassian Andor. Anyway, that's my video, my recap and my thoughts on episode 8 entitled Narkina 5 for Star Wars Andor. Very good series. We're getting close to the end here. We got a handful of episodes left, and I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed this episode, yeah, but I enjoyed this series. And I can't wait for the next episode. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. Checked out my video, I should say. I appreciate it. And in closing, as always, take care.